My name is Karim, and I've been by Captain Ibrahim Traore's side since the early days, even before he became leader of Burkina Faso. I'm not a high-ranking officer, not famous, not important to the world, but I see things. I hear things. And I protect the man who carries the weight of a nation on his back. It all began on a hot night in July. We had traveled to a small village, somewhere east of Ouagadougou, to meet with local chiefs and check on our soldiers stationed nearby. The captain had insisted on going himself. He always says, "How can I lead people I don't know? I must see their eyes, hear their pain." The day had been long. He shook hands with old men. He sat with widows whose sons had died fighting terrorists. He gave orders to tired soldiers and promised to send more food, more help. By sunset, we returned to the town where we were to sleep for the night, a quiet place with simple homes and dusty roads. The house we stayed in wasn't much. 1 floor, 3 rooms, no guards outside except our own boys. It was a trusted area, or so we thought. The captain took off his boots, sat on a mat in the main room, and asked me to bring him tea. I remember that moment clearly because it was the last time the day felt normal. At around 10:30 p.m., I stepped outside to check on things. The sky was cloudy, hiding the moon. The town was quiet, too quiet. Something in the air felt off. I walked over to one of our guards, a Dharma. He was leaning against the wall, holding a small military radio. His eyes were sharp. When he saw me, he didn't smile. "Karim," he said in a low voice. "I just picked something strange on the frequency." "Strange how?" I asked, heart already beating faster. "Someone speaking in codes." "It's not our boys." The voice said, "He's resting now. The window is open." Then silence. That was enough. I didn't need to hear more. In this line of work, you learn to read danger not by what is said, but how it's said. Something was happening, and it was happening tonight. I went back inside, fast but calm. The captain was still sitting on the mat. His eyes met mine. I didn't speak loudly. I simply said, "Captain, we need to move. Now." He didn't ask why. He knew me well enough. He looked at his boots, picked them up without a word, and began putting them on. That moment told me everything about the man. Some leaders shout, panic, demand answers. Not him. His calmness was our strength. I called Issa, our driver, and Adama. Only the 3 of us were with the captain. We didn't want to make noise. We couldn't trust anyone else, not even some of the local soldiers. Earlier that week, we had heard whispers. Something about a planned betrayal. But we thought we had time. We were wrong. We didn't leave through the front gate. We used a narrow back door that led into the bushes behind the house. No lights. Just shadows and our breathing. I had a pistol in my hand, safety off. Every small sound, a cricket, a falling leaf, made me jump inside. We reached the vehicle, an old 4x4 with no markings. Issa was already behind the wheel. "We go through the side path," I told him. "Avoid the main road. It may be blocked." "Yes," he replied, without turning. As we drove off slowly, I looked behind one last time at the quiet town. It looked peaceful. But peace can lie. Peace can wear a mask. Somewhere in that silence, danger was waiting. We had just passed the last house on the outskirts when a sound crackled over Adama's radio. A voice, rushed and scared, spoke in Mossi, then switched to French. "The target has left the house, repeat, the bird has flown." My blood froze. They were watching us. They knew. "Drive!" I shouted. Issa stepped hard on the pedal, and we flew into the dark road, the engine loud now, no more hiding. Gunfire rang out behind us. 1 shot, then 2. I turned, saw nothing but darkness. But we knew, the attack had begun. It was no longer a rumor or whisper. It was real. And we were running for our lives. The sky turned from black to gray, then from gray to gold. The early sun lit up the trees around Camp Zongo. Birds sang like nothing had happened. But inside the camp, we were wide awake, alert, tense, tired, but alive. I sat on the ground near the main tent. My hand still shook a little, and my legs ached from sitting in that car all night. Adama was leaning against a tree, quietly checking his rifle. Issa had gone to the motor pool to check on the tires. He said something about fixing the brakes, but I think he just needed to breathe. The captain was sitting under the largest tree in the camp. He hadn't slept. His face was dusty, his shirt torn from the escape, but he looked as calm as ever. He sipped tea from a small metal cup someone had brought him. Around him stood 3 trusted commanders and 1 communications officer. He was already working. He called the base in Ouagadougou first. His voice was low but firm. "I'm alive." There was an attempt. "Alert the others. Tell them to stay at their posts until further orders." Then he called the intelligence office. "Trace all calls made from Sector 9 in the last 48 hours. I want names. I want recordings. I want everything." I watched him closely. This wasn't just a soldier anymore. He was a man who had faced death and survived. And now, he was hunting those who had tried to take him down. A few hours later, we gathered in the war room, a small building with maps on the wall and a single table in the center. The captain walked in and looked at us. "There are traitors inside our house," he began. "They wear the uniform, but their hearts are for the enemy. They tried to finish me last night. They failed. Now we finish them." He looked at Commander Suleiman. "How many officers were informed about our visit to that village?" Suleiman opened a small notebook. 5. Myself, 2 colonels, and 2 staff officers in the capital. The captain nodded. "Call them. Tell them to report here. All of them. No excuses." One of the colonels, Colonel D, refused. He said he was too busy and would report later. Within an hour, 2 loyal soldiers were sent to bring him in. He arrived by afternoon, handcuffed. I watched from a distance as the captain questioned him. "Why did you forward my travel details to Sector 12? "I didn't." "We have the message." Silence. "Why did you want me dead?" I didn't think it would go that far." That was all he said. He didn't deny it after that. The captain didn't raise his voice. He just stared at the man, then said softly, "You sold your soul. Now you'll answer for it." Colonel D was taken away under guard. That night, 2 more arrests were made. A major who had helped plan the ambush. And a logistics officer who had moved weapons without clearance. The captain wasn't acting in anger. He was quiet, careful, and precise. Like a surgeon cutting out sickness from a body. Later, as the sun was setting, I found myself walking with him near the outer fence. It was quiet again. Just the sound of dry leaves under our boots. "You could have died last night," I said. He looked at the trees, then back at me. "Yes," he said. "But I didn't." We walked a little more in silence. Then I asked what had been bothering me all day. "Do you trust anyone now?" He paused. Then he said, "I trust few. But I must still lead all." I understood. He wasn't going to let fear rule him. He wouldn't lock himself in a bunker or hide behind guards. He would keep walking among the people, talking to soldiers, visiting villages, even knowing some wanted him dead. Because that's who he was. That night, after a long day, he finally lay down to rest. No big speeches. No celebrations. Just a man, tired but still standing, sleeping under a mosquito net in a corner of the camp. And me? I sat outside his tent, rifle on my lap, eyes open. I didn't sleep. Because I had seen too much. I had felt how close death came. I had watched loyalty break. And I knew this was only the first attack. There would be more. But we would be ready. Captain Ibrahim Traore had survived the night. And so had Burkina Faso's hope. The moment the gunshots rang out behind us, everything changed. No more thinking. No more planning. Just instinct. Just survival. We were speeding through the narrow bush path now. The road wasn't really a road, just a trail that farmers used to reach their fields. It was bumpy, full of small stones and dry leaves. Branches scratched the windows as we passed, and the whole vehicle shook as Issa pushed it faster than it was ever meant to go. I held my pistol tight, eyes on the rear window. Behind us, I saw two headlights appear in the distance. A motorcycle. Maybe more than one. They were following us. And they were getting closer. Adama was sitting in the back with the captain. He loaded his rifle without a word. The captain didn't speak. He didn't need to. His face was focused, calm, but his eyes were moving fast, scanning the trees, the road, everything. This was a soldier who had been through war, and now, war had come to him. "We'll hit the main road in 5 minutes," Issa said. "Then what?" I looked at the captain. He nodded slightly, then said, "Avoid the highway. Take the road toward the river and circle around. We go to Camp Zongo. That's where the loyal ones are. Camp Zongo, a military post about 45 minutes away. If we could reach there, we'd be safe. But getting there would not be easy. The attackers were trained. They had inside help. They knew our habits, our routes, even our sleeping spot. That meant someone close had sold us out." Suddenly, a sharp noise, rat-a-tat-tat. Bullets. They hit the back of the car. One bullet shattered the rear glass. I ducked. Adama returned fire, leaning out the side window and firing toward the lights. "One bike down," he shouted. "But more. We're coming." Another set of lights appeared behind us. 2 motorcycles, maybe 3. Moving fast. The road curved sharply. Issa turned hard, and the car almost rolled over. We heard something snap under the tires, maybe a branch or maybe worse, but we didn't stop. Then, up ahead, something made my heart stop. A figure in military uniform stood in the road, waving his arms. A fake checkpoint. "They're trying to trap us," I yelled. Issa didn't hesitate. He hit the gas. The soldier jumped out of the way as we flew past. We heard shouting behind us, then another burst of gunfire. A bullet hit the side mirror. Glass flew everywhere. The captain leaned forward and tapped Issa's shoulder. "Take the old logging trail," he said. "It's rough, but they won't expect it." Issa nodded. A few minutes later, he turned off the road and onto a hidden path I hadn't seen in years. It was narrow, covered in tall grass, and twisted like a snake. But it led straight toward the river, and then to Camp Zongo. As we moved deeper into the forest, the sounds behind us faded. The attackers were no longer close. Maybe they gave up. Or maybe they didn't know about this trail. We couldn't be sure. The car slowed. We had to move carefully now. The tires were worn, and we didn't want to break down here. We were still far from safe. Inside the vehicle, no one spoke. We were covered in sweat. Dust filled the air. I could smell fuel and fear. Then the captain finally spoke. They were waiting for me. Someone close gave them the plan. We all knew he was right. It wasn't a random attack. They knew where we were staying. They knew the route. They had uniforms. It had to be someone in the military, someone who wore our badge, ate our food, and then stabbed us in the back. "I'll find the traitors," he said. "And when I do, they will answer to the people, not just to me." We kept driving. The minutes felt like hours. But finally, after what felt like forever, we saw a light up ahead. Then another. Then a gate. A soldier raised his rifle. "Stop," he shouted. Issa slowed down. I rolled down the window and shouted, "Karim!" Escorting the captain. "Open the gate!" There was a pause. Then, someone came running from inside. A tall officer in full uniform. It was Commander Suleiman, a loyal man. "Captain," he said, saluting. "We heard something happened. We've locked the base tight." The gate opened. We drove in. We were safe. For now. The captain stepped out slowly. His shirt was wet with sweat, dust on his face. But he stood tall. He looked at the night sky, took a deep breath, and then looked at us. "This is not over," he said. "It's just beginning."